Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Food 101. Food, people. Let's talk about food. And today I have my special guest. He is the CEO and founder of Forest Superfoods, no other than Mr. Justin Snyder.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Justin, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
I run a company called Forest Superfoods, which is based out of Australia, but we sell worldwide. And we offer the highest quality medicinal mushrooms and superfoods on the planet to people that want to improve their health naturally.
Yes, indeed, naturally, and thank you so much for sharing your products to the world. What inspired you to create Forest Superfoods, and how does your personal story tie into the company's mission?
Um, I was inspired to create it because when I was traveling around India, I discovered these. I discovered spirulina, which is a algae that grows on top of the surface of the water, but it's very high in protein and iron and beta carotenes and a whole lot of different nutrients and vitamins. And I was fascinated by this idea that we could improve our health through the foods that we eat, and that started this journey, discovering superfoods and medicinal mushrooms. And at the same time, I just finished high school and I'd always had a pretty bad diet, and I was just kind of just working out for myself how interconnected the foods we eat are with our health and how good we feel. And so that became part of my own journey, was discovering these foods and how they could improve my own well-being, but also improve the well-being of other people.
Mr. Justin, how you define the core values that guide Forest Superfoods, and how do they influence day-to-day operations?
I guess the main core value would be that we only want to sell the highest quality possible. I don't want to sell stuff that I wouldn't want to take myself, and I don't see the point in taking low quality health foods. So, whereas most of the health foods you buy out there are extracts, which mean they're diluted and denatured with alcohol, solvents, and water, we don't do any of that. We just take the whole food, the whole plant, the whole root, the whole mushroom, whatever it is, and freeze dry it and put into capsules. So, I think about when we're developing new products, I think about what kind of product would I want to take, and and we start with that. We don't really look at how much is it going to cost and how much profit can we make, and should we get cheaper ingredients, and can we add fillers, and can we use alcohol and all these kind of things. We just look at what would the best possible product look like, and we work backwards from there.
Indeed. What differentiates Forest Superfoods from the other brands in the crowded health and wellness market?
We touched on this a bit already, but like the other brands are using extracts, which means they take the mushroom or the plant or the root and they dilute it in alcohol and water and sometimes even vinegar. And that means that they can extend the products. They can take a small amount of lion's mane mushroom and dilute it in 1,000 liters of alcohol and call that an extract. And so it makes it much cheaper for them, but it means that you miss out on a lot of the active components which couldn't be removed by the alcohol and which aren't really present because it's so heavily diluted. As well as adding fillers in Australia and the US and Canada, there's no real requirements for brands to in terms of fillers. So they could say this is an ashwagandha product and it could be 95% fillers and only 5% ashwagandha, and they could still call that ashwagandha supplement. So we don't use any fillers. We don't any alcohol or water. We really look at how is the plant or the mushroom, how does it appear in nature? If you were consuming it fresh, how can we get as close to that as possible? And so that's why we use things like freeze drying, and we don't add alcohol and we don't add fillers, because we're trying to get as close to how nature intended for us to consume these foods as possible.
Yes, I want to try your ashwagandha. I
It's amazing.
consume that every month. So let's talk about the sustainability and ethics. Can you share a challenge you have faced in maintaining sustainable ingredient sourcing and how you overcome it?
Um, yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of problems with being able to get ingredients because we won't just buy from anyone. We want certified organic, we want Australian grown, we want high quality ingredients, and sometimes they're not available, and so sometimes we'll sell out, and we just people just have to go on a wait list and wait till it comes back in stock. So whereas other brands might, in those scenarios, buy a lower quality product to be able to fill that gap where they don't have stock, we just sell out and don't have anything available.
How does Forest Superfoods ensure ethical partnerships with farmers and local communities in sourcing regions?
Um, Really just by working direct with the farmers. So things like our ashwagandha and our moringa, which is certified organic and come from India. The farmers there that we have very close relations with and have been working with for almost a decade, we buy direct from them. So there's no middleman taking a large portion of their income, and we give back a large amount of the money that we bring in as well. So for every order that's placed on our website, we donate $1 to Rainforest Rescue, which uses that money to protect endangered rainforests in the Daintree in Queensland, Australia.
Indeed, interesting, and congratulations for doing that, Mr. Justin, because we need our rainforest. That is the lungs of our Mother Earth. What steps are you taking to minimize the company's environmental footprint beyond sustainable sourcing?
I guess the big thing would be our packaging. So most of our products come in glass bottles, which are of course recyclable. And we don't use, we don't put them in plastic containers like a lot of the competitors do. Part of the reason is the environmental impact, but I also think there's far too much plastic in the world, and I'm concerned about microplastics in products, and also just think it looks a lot nicer. So we do those products you have there in the on the screen. Those are all in glass bottles.
Oh, glass bottles, not the plastic itself.
Mm.
Indeed. Congratulations for that. Innovation and growth walk us through the process of developing a new product. How do you identify which superfoods or trends to prioritize?
The first thing we do is we look at what our customers are requesting. So ashwagandha, before we started selling, was something that we were getting a lot of requests for. And
Yes.
then the next stage is we have some nutritionists on our team who has 20 years experience with health food and whole foods and nutrition. And so she does a lot of researching in terms of like what's the scientific data around these products, what are the safety concerns, what's the best method of drying them, where does it come from natural natively, all those kind of things. Is it certified organic? All those kind of, it really takes about a year to bring a new product on board because there's a very long process in terms of like looking at all of the data and making an assessment as to whether it's something we want to stock or not. There's lots of products which are popular, which we've chosen not to stock because we're concerned about safety issues or there's just not enough scientific data around it. So yeah, the first step is making sure it's something that there's enough scientific data around it that we feel like it's worth having, and there's enough scientific data around the safety of that we feel like it's a safe product for us to offer. And then we look for farmers to partner with to ensure that we can get the highest quality that's grown to certified organic standards, and like we talked about before, doesn't have isn't made into an extract, and look for farmers who share our kind of value system around providing exceptional quality products.
What's one upcoming product or initiative at Forest Superfoods that you are most excited about?
I'm excited about something we've just launched this week, which is when people sign up for a subscription for any product, they get $117 worth of gifts. So they get like a
Yes.
Pro Food Foods drink bottle and a couple of free products to try. And they can sign up for a $59 subscription and get the $117 worth of gifts. And they're not locked in. It's a monthly subscription, but they can cancel anytime they like. And I'm really excited to be able to share these beautiful glass drink bottles we've got, and some new products with people who are getting them trying things they might not have tried otherwise.
Nice one, Mr. Justin. Looking forward for that, and I want to sign up for that. How do you balance innovation with staying true to the brand's core identity?
I guess it just goes back to what we were talking about before, that like we just make sure that any products we release are products that we're proud of and that we will take ourselves and that we'd be happy giving to our family members. So it's innovation's important, but making sure that we have products that we're proud of comes first and foremost.
Yes, product to be proud of. Definitely. Let's talk about the impact and community. How does Forest Superfoods measure its social and environmental impact beyond profit?
I guess that comes back to like the rainforest rescue and how much we're doing to actually protect endangered rainforests. And we look at the thousands of acres or tens of thousands of acres now that we've managed to save. Um,
Yes.
and we look at what it is that we're doing in terms of protecting the endangered rainforest, and then really just about making sure that we can educate as many people as possible about how they can improve their lives naturally through superfoods, and
Indeed.
that's really our goal.
Indeed. To protect our Mother Earth as well as our health. Can
Right.
you share an example of how the company has positively impacted the community where ingredients are sourced?
Um, I guess the main thing would just be like a lot of our products come from Australia and come from the rainforest in Australia, and so by doing the rainforest rescue stuff, we're able to protect the rainforest here, which is going to help the local community and the wildlife in those areas.
Yes. Congratulations for that. How do you engage customers in your mission to promote health and sustainability?
We do that by educating people about why our superfoods might be more expensive than what they can find at the chemist or supermarket, and what it is they're actually buying when they find a product which is called ashwagandha, but is mostly alcohol and fillers, and probably not grown to particularly high standards. And yeah, we just we really focus on education through the emails we send, through the videos we make, through the Facebook ads we do, and the organic posts. And we're very much about it's not necessarily just about selling product; it's about helping people to improve their health naturally, whatever that encompasses.
Yes. Naturally, people, naturally. Let's talk about the challenges and resilience. What was the most pivotal moment or decision in Forest Superfoods journey and why?
Probably changing from the name Cheap Superfoods to Forest Superfoods. I originally called it Cheap Superfoods because I wanted to offer it to people at a very affordable price, and but then it didn't really make sense because it was called cheap superfoods, but we were offering people like the highest quality certified organic superfoods without fillers or without the alcohol added or without cheap imports. And so I think changing the name and shifting from like that idea of being cheap to being forest superfoods made a huge difference in terms of like aligning the brand with the business name.
Yes, indeed, changing the name itself. How do you navigate changing customer trends while staying committed to long term sustainability goals?
Um, I don't know. I mean, we don't really focus so much on trends. We look at really, what do we think are really high quality superfoods that people are asking for and that are going to, have a lot of scientific data behind them. And those are the products we bring on rather than, the flavors of the month.
So, what is the biggest misconception people have about building mission driven food brand? like
Building what?
for a
Sorry,
superfood?
sorry. So what did you
What's
say?
the yes? What's the biggest misconception people have about building mission-driven food brand?
Um, I don't know that it's that you just need to put a website together and sell the same product that everyone else is selling.
Hmm.
Like I think a lot of people think that you can just buy some cheap imported product and put it on a website and that's all. But I think there's a lot more involved in that because it's so competitive. I think you really need to have a unique selling position that's different to what everyone else has.
Indeed. Mr. Justin, as the CEO and founder of Forest Superfoods, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Um, my short term goals are probably just to be able to expand internationally and reach more people, and I'd say the long term goals would be just to focus on constantly improving our products and yeah, being able to serve more customers, but at the same time be able to maintain our exceptional customer service and our exceptional product standards while scaling.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Justin, and looking forward for your success. What would be your advice or a piece of advice for those people out there who want to create their own business, especially
Um,
food?
I guess it would be make sure it's something that you really believe in and you're very passionate about because you know usually it takes a much longer than you think it's going to take for it to become a profitable enterprise. And so
Yes,
make sure it's something you really believe in because that kind of helps you get through the tough times.
totally agree with you, Mr. Justin. Something that you have passionate about. Let's talk about leadership and culture. How do you foster a company culture that aligns with Forest Superfoods values, especially as a team grows?
um I guess just by making sure that everyone's aware of the values of the company and the culture within the company. And we have a culture of always constant improvement. And so I tell staff that you need to tell somebody if they've made a mistake because you need to know what you've done wrong in order to be able to improve. And so we make sure that the people in our team are those that are interested in always improving and always bettering themselves in terms of their tasks within the company, but also them as individuals.
Yes, indeed. So, what's one leadership lesson you've learned that had shaped how you run the company?
Um, Make sure that as the leader you're embodying what it is you want other people to do. So I make sure that I'm always the first one to say that I stuffed up or I did something wrong. So because that's how I want my staff to act, and so I make sure that I'm the first one to do that, so that they learn, so that they can learn from my example, rather than me refusing to admit I'm ever wrong, but telling them they need to, be willing to learn from their mistakes.
Yes, indeed. You need to learn from our mistake. Don't don't be afraid to commit mistake, people, because you will learn from it. Let's talk about the future outlook. Where do you see Forest Superfoods in the next 5 to 10 years? And what bold goals are you working toward?
Um, well, we want to. We're very well established in Australia, but we want to have an established presence all throughout the world, so that we can reach more and more people, and help the whole world to become more healthy naturally. And so, I guess our bold goal would be world domination over the next 5 to 10 years.
World domination indeed, and looking forward for that, Mr. Justin. How do emerging technologies such as AI, blockchain playing in a role in your supply chain or product development?
Blockchain's not really involved, but AI is something that we use a lot to get ideas from and to get. We kind of use AI as like a copywriting tool to be able to look at things we've written and give ideas of different ways to structure things and to get ideas for different stores we should approach. Or yeah, AI is something we use a lot as another team member to bounce ideas off, basically.
Basically, yes, indeed, we need to embrace AI because AI is our future. I think future technologies. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Justin, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in its fifth season as well. Geography 101 and Love Letters in third season, and my baby podcast, Mental Health 101. Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season. Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. Justin, if you could redefine the future of superfood industry, what would it look like and how is your company leading the change?
I think if I could redesign it, it would be, there'd be a lot less rubbish in it and a lot less hype, and people would sell high quality products that don't have cheap imports in them and don't have a lot of fillers and aren't extracts that are mostly alcohol or water. And yeah, I think there'd be a much higher standard.
Indeed, high quality products, people, and Forest Superfoods, Mr. Justin Snyder. Thank you so much for sharing Forest Superfoods. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your products?
Yeah, go to forestsuperfoods.com if you'd like to buy some superfoods, and there's a free quiz on there as well, so you can work out which superfoods work best for you. And yeah, check it out.
Yes, people, check it out. They have amazing products. Superfoods, www.superfoods.com. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Justin Snyder because if you support him, more and more and more empowering products to come from Forest Superfoods. So, Mr. Justin, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks for having me on.
More to come, people. See you soon.